Now, who doesn't love the story of the Sith, and of course, the Sith Lords during the events of the Old Republic, and many different points in time in the Star Wars universe? A lot of fans just enjoy stuff like that within the mythology of the franchise, a lot of which, by the way, will be picked up by creators like Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni, and even The Acolyte by Leslie Headland and Kathleen Kennedy that a lot of people out there, including myself, am very on edge about. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way guys, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support. It is greatly appreciated. Now, one thing about Kathleen Kennedy is that she has had multiple setbacks with the Acolyte series, time and time again. This thing was supposed to begin filming, by the way, last May, alright, of this year I should say, and that got delayed all the way until the very end of November into this month of December. So right now they're just beginning to do the main portions of filming, you know, the main pieces of the actual Acolyte series. But one thing in particular that Kathleen Kennedy recently did truly betrays George Lucas himself and even us, the fandom at heart, and the overall Star Wars community at hand. Now, we're going to be going over everything detail by detail and exactly what went down behind the scenes over at Lucasfilm a couple of weeks ago. Now, of course, we already know that Kathleen Kennedy is very much involved with not just Acolyte, but also Skeleton Crew, which is getting closer to ending filming, I must add. Now, the thing about Kathleen Kennedy, too, is that this Acolyte series is going to be very much driven by a lot of her own agendas and detaching from the philosophy of George Lucas and not having to do anything with George's plans. And we're going to be going over a lot of this. Now, with the Acolyte now getting ready to begin its main filming, like I say, with Kathleen Kennedy and Leslie Headland leading the project, Disney executives have been very worried about this series after Kathleen Kennedy made some very rough decisions with the storyline. It's noted that recently Kathleen Kennedy cut out a big portion of the script for the Acolyte show that may very well lessen the series by one whole episode for the show. Now, there was a point in time that was initially accepted between both Lucas and Kennedy to include a foreshadowing way of storytelling for the prophecy of the Chosen One and Anakin Skywalker being included in the story of the Acolyte. This was all resolved and set upon to be used in the actual show. This is something, however, that Lucas and Kennedy agreed upon and knew the fans would love this in the show. However, just 2 weeks ago, Kennedy decided to pull the plug on that idea and has erased all references and or connections to Anakin Skywalker in the Acolyte series, and is already replacing it with something completely different that is being rewritten by Leslie Headland right now to be filmed later in 2023. Now, let me stop here for 1 minute before I get to the other, more important material about this. Now, given that the Acolyte takes place at the tail end of the High Republic era, which, by the way, at the end of the High Republic, it's about 60 to 80 years, roughly, before the events of the Phantom Menace, mind you, right around that time frame. And within that time span, alright, George and Kennedy agreed to tell a little foreshadowing way of storytelling about the prophecy of the Chosen One and the true story of Anakin Skywalker coming to light, and how a lot of revelations were going to be involved with that, a lot of new ways of storytelling in the canon were going to be used. George was very excited about that, but recently Kennedy just decided to pull the plug on this without a care in the world, and once again stabbed George in the back, just as she did back in 2013 when she had that famous interview with George on tape, on video, where she said that she's going to take care of these characters, she's going to respect the lore, she's going to respect the locations and the overall, worlds in mind of the Star Wars universe at hand. Now, with the Acolyte, this is a whole different, level now of what she has been doing. Basically, she wants nothing to do with Anakin being inserted in even a vague way in the Acolyte series, or even in a more direct way at that point. And George has been very upset about this. There's no denying the fact that George still holds that grudge against Kathleen Kennedy. It's one of the main reasons why he did not appear at the Rise of Skywalker world premiere on purpose. We already talked about this. There's a reason behind that, because Kennedy, once again, promised things and then just really got rid of those promises and deleted so many scenes that were supposed to be used for episode 9. That did not end up being the case. So, on to the next thing here, alright? So, this is where things begin to really progress, is that the storyline that is set to replace the foreshadowing of the prophecy of the Chosen One has something to do with the origin story of Sith code named, of course, Tala. A Sith actual code name for the character is Katala. So, this Tala character that will be introduced as a strong female Sith warrior that holds connections to the world of Korriban. Kennedy is trying to set things up that there will be a such thing as a new Chosen one that is chosen to be one of the most knowledgeable Sith Lords in existence. So basically what Kennedy and Leslie are setting up is that there's going to be a different side of the Chosen One, right? When you look at Anakin, he is the Chosen One. He is the one that ultimately destroys the Sith and brings, justice to the galaxy, right? He brings Luke Skywalker into this world, and hence Luke really uses that to redeem his own father. Luke's own existence redeems Anakin himself. So Anakin indirectly redeemed himself by having a child with Padme Amidala, and that character Luke, when in danger upon getting struck by lightning by Palpatine, that's when he snapped. That's when everything changed, and they kind of tried to undo that with episode 9 with Rey destroying Sidious instead. So on to the next thing here. Alright, what they are trying to do now is a different Chosen One that is chosen to infiltrate the Jedi Order. Alright, that to me is a different side of the story, and what Kathleen Kennedy is trying to achieve may very well be controversial. Now, Kennedy is trying to set things up that there will now be such thing as a new Chosen one that is chosen to be one of the most, like I said before, knowledgeable Sith Lords. Leslie Headland is said to be rewriting some Star Wars history to overtake the story of Anakin that was supposed to be told in Acolyte. Lucas is said to be very upset about Kennedy's recent drastic change for the Acolyte series, since it did indeed erase Anakin's foreshadowing in that show entirely. Not one bit has been saved. So basically, this new Chosen One, codenamed Tala, holds connections to the world of Korriban. Now, what are those connections? We're not quite sure. It could very well be a familial history, something like that. But moving on to the next thing here, is that this new Chosen One is chosen to infiltrate the Jedi Order. Alright? Now, we're not quite sure if this Tala character is going to be in a flashback to the days of the Old Republic, since flashbacks of the OR are going to be in the Acolyte show. Let's not forget about that. But there is a shift, a big shift here in the Acolyte series, and I think that this is something that Kennedy just did out of spite against George Lucas. So overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you guys have to say about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.